Welcome to A1R Psychic Radio here on Moonstruck TV for our very, very, very first show of 2018. So I want to take the opportunity to wish everybody a very happy new year. And let's make it a big one. Let's make it a prosperous one, a positive one. Do something really amazing for yourself. I hope you set your intentions underneath your candle as we started off the new year. But I have one little thing that I'd like to share with you before we kick the show off. And I just thought we'd have a little bit of fun and frivolity to kick the show off. And I want to share with you my very new glasses for the year. So I thought they were very apt, being beautiful gold dollar signs, so that maybe we can just share the wealth around a little bit, right around this amazing globe of ours with my beautiful new spectacles. And it brings me to a different perspective for the new year. So the new year this year, we're going to kick it off with the Simply Tarot card of the week. And I will leave my glasses on while I share with this one with you. And it's called the Hanged Man. Now, this is a very controversial sort of card because the Hanged Man is actually the right way up. Being upside down, hanging upside down, it is his correct position. It's getting stronger in oneself after a lot of deliberating and delaying in your life. Now, for a lot of you, setting your New Year's intentions, not resolutions, probably meant that you had to do a little bit of deliberating and delaying and weighing up what was going to go on the list and what wasn't, and what was going to go on the list of progress and what we could maybe achieve quickly. So I think it's a very apt card to start the new year. Anyway, I'm going to take off my magical, very expensive glasses now so we can move the show along. Now, it's always interesting as we kick off a new year because so many people say to me, oh, dear Amanda, I don't know whether I'm really up for it. I feel tired. We've got through the Christmas festivities and all the family and the parties and the overindulgence in food. And it's like, okay, here we go again. We're expected to sort of be completely energised and ready to start again. And yes, for some of you, you are completely energised and ready to start again. If you're anywhere in the southern hemisphere, you're probably exhausted from going to the beach or a swimming hole or finding somewhere to stay cool. We've had an incredibly hot summer here, followed by, usually here on the Gold Coast where I am, an afternoon storm or two. So that guarantees we have even more humidity than we did before we started. So hence my hair starts to fall and go flat in this sort of weather because I have very fine hair. But anyway, besides that, I love summer. I think it's the most magical time of the year. And for me personally, it energises me, probably because I am a fire sign and I enjoy the heat. But for a lot of people, they find it a time of the year where they're very tired, that they sort of feel, we've just got through the end of last year and now I'm expected to be bright, perky and bubbly again and start all over again. Can I share with you, I think January should be a time about setting your own pace, not necessarily trying to move too fast, because sometimes when we try and move too fast, we then actually slow the processes up, or the things that we want to bring about change in our lives, we actually slow them down. So can I suggest to you, if you're feeling a little bit tired and you feel like you just want to curl up on the sofa and read a book or watch a movie or watch Netflix or whatever your passion may be, then do it. Allow yourself that luxury. Let's start the new year off in a different sort of way where we're actually pampering ourselves a little bit and listening to our own bodies. I think if we listen to our own bodies, I think we bring along a lot less stress in our lives for a start, but also probably a lot less illness. And for anybody that really knows me very well, I can't stand being sick. And for the last 3 weeks, I've been fighting a throat infection, which really doesn't sit well with me because I'm such a high energy person. And I've watched more television in the last 3 weeks than I think in the last 12 months. But anyway, that's all right. I've caught up on my TV watching now. Hopefully it'll all be sorted soon. But for the rest of us, it's a time where we really need to be sort of kicking off the new year and working hard and looking at what we're hoping to achieve in this next 12 months. And it's interesting that the first full moon of this year is a super full moon. Look, there's so much stuff written about super full moons, and everybody sort of almost says nearly every month, oh, it's another super full moon, or it's got this name, or it's got that name. Every full moon does have a name. It's just that we as astrologers don't tend to sort of say, well, this is the such and such moon in the such and such sign. Each moon has its own complexities, has its own energy, is something that I think we all need to work with, not just one area or that particular sign that it's in. Now, how we calculate a full moon is always in the opposite sign to where the sun currently sits. So the sun's currently sitting in Capricorn, so the full moon then has to be in Cancer. So then the first new moon in the Capricorn cycle will be the new moon in Capricorn. It is only if we have a second new moon in the 30-day period do we class that as a dark moon or a black moon. And the same if we have two full moons in a 30-day cycle, we call it a blue moon. So we haven't got a blue moon, we've got the full moon in Cancer, which started on the 2nd of January, depending on where you are in the world. It goes for approximately 2.5 days. It is in the sign of Cancer, so the moon is back in its own energy. So to me, whether it was a super full moon or just a normal, every old, ordinary full moon in Cancer, the moon is very powerful because the moon is back in its own sign. A super full moon just means that the intensity of the energy is a little bit more. I really don't understand how we can say, how can the moon be any more powerful than the moon being back in its own sign that it rules of Cancer? How can it be more powerful than what it already is? It is already at its maximum. It's already at its peak. So the full moon in Cancer is a time where we are asked to look after ourselves, to nurture ourselves, to delve inside ourselves and make sure that we've made peace with resolutions or intentions, as I like to work with, for the new year. It's also a time about reassessing how we fit within the family structure. Is there anything that we may need to change in the way that our family is structured? Is there somebody we need to make peace with? Was there somebody that we had a little disagreement with or maybe didn't see eye to eye with over the Christmas festivities? Is there somebody there that maybe needs our attention? Or is it just that we need to nurture ourselves? So during this full moon, I want you to sort of ask yourself those sort of questions, revisit your intentions, and for those of you that do resolutions, revisit your resolutions and make sure that they're practical, that they're not necessarily pie in the sky sort of things that you just dreamed up because it was the first of the year. Make sure that they're things that we can achieve, that we can put them on a list, whether we put them on your whiteboard, on your phone, on your computer, but something that we can tick off as we achieve it, as we go through this wonderful year of 2018, and so we have a sense of achievement. So that leads me to the candle of the week, and of course you don't get any prizes for guessing what I chose this week. It's the full moon candle, and this is the time when we should set our intentions of what we want to release in our lives and what we want to draw to us. But I feel because it's our first full moon of the year, and with it being in Cancer, I think we can probably add a couple more things to our wish list of the things that we would like to create or the things that we would like to draw into our lives. Don't be greedy. Don't make the list 100 long. Make it, condense it down to 5 or 6 so that they are really powerful, so that you do put the energy and the intention in there. If you're working with one of my candles, I suggest that you light it for an hour a day. You read it out first, what you have down on your intention list before you light the candle. Place it underneath. Never burn a candle directly on a surface. Always put a barrier between you and the table or the furniture, whether it be a coaster or a saucer or a book or something. So that's always the way to work with candles. If you don't have one of my candles, any candle will do, as long as you learn to use the energy of the candle. And if you're using a full moon candle, can I suggest you only use it at the full moon? Not at any other time of the year. So this is not one we would burn every day, but this is one we would burn at the time of the full moon for an hour to 2 hours maximum, after we've set out aloud our intent, what we want to draw to us, the things that we're releasing. Always keep your eye on the candle, never leave it unattended. That's the quickest way to have fires, and always keep your candles out of drafts, fans, air conditioners, things like that, and never place them underneath an open window with a blowing curtain. I know that might sound very obvious, but you'd be surprised the amount of people that have got themselves into hazardous situations by really not paying attention, being so focused on what they're trying to work with the energy of the candle, and haven't really given much thought to safety. So I want everybody to be safe this year. So it's going to be a very interesting year. We had a little trip around the universe last week, and we talked about the changes of the guard with the sun moving into Capricorn, with Saturn actually starting his 2.5-year journey through Capricorn, just leaving Sagittarius. And I know that my inbox was full with people saying, yippee doodle dandy, I'm doing the happy dance. He's now come out of Sag, he's leaving us alone and moving into Capricorn. And a number of Capricorns being alarmed by this. It's nothing to be alarmed about. It's a time when you can set intentions and get some great things happening in your life because you have more determination, more stickability to be able to put energy into the projects and the things that you want to achieve in the next couple of years. The only people that need to be frightened are the people that haven't done the work on themselves and aren't prepared to work with the energy of Saturn and want to fight him every step of the way. If you're prepared to go with the flow and make the changes that are necessary, it can be a very, very, very rewarding time. Now, we're going to kick off the new year with the final of our 10 planets. We've been doing a 4-part series since I started on A1R earlier last year, and we're down to our final planet, which is Pluto. So we're going to have our final 4-part series of the planets with Pluto in the first 3 signs. This week we're focusing on Cancer. This week I'm jumping ahead of myself. We're starting with Aries, Taurus and Gemini. So to have Pluto in Aries is a very interesting placement because it's the ability to make things happen. Aries is a very impatient sign, as we've already established, like me first, wants to get everything done yesterday, where Pluto's the planet of transformation, doing things slowly, delving underneath, looking underneath the covers, bringing things out of the darkness into the light. It's said to be sort of a planet that really transforms us, and I agree with that. So what I'm seeing here is the ability to transform things or to get new projects happening with great gusto very, very quickly. So it's a terrific time. If you have Aries and Pluto, you can achieve mammoth things in your life that can happen with the snap of the fingers. So when we move to Taurus and Pluto, this is where the energy changes quite drastically because we know Taurian energy is slow, deliberate, definite. What's mine's mine and what yours is mine. And Pluto here says, okay, that's fine. I'm happy to work with the slower pace, but what I want in exchange is thorough disclosure. I want you to be open and honest with me. I don't want anything hidden. I want to be the one to reveal the secrets. I want to be the one that brings everything to the surface so that we can make some great progress here. So it's a very methodical, sort of slow, deliberate sort of way of getting to the truth in a lot of matters that may be, and they may not always be connected with finances. They could be connected with things that are important to you in the way that you view the world. So we move to the final sign, which is Pluto in Gemini. What an interesting combination this is because Gemini darts all over the place, barely able to stand still. It's a bit like a jumping stick. He's always here, there, everywhere, and, catch me if you can sort of energy, where Pluto works on a much slower vibration. So it's interesting here because as Gemini is ducking and weaving and sort of trying to show off and be all very clever, Pluto just sort of sits back and has this sort of satirical sort of smile on his face and says, okay, well, what's your next party trick? You wander off and waste all your energy there while I start delving behind the scenes and start looking at things. So it's sort of like together I think that they can have some really big light bulb moments where they can have some amazing breakthroughs and particularly in creative sort of ways. So next week we're going to focus on Cancer, Leo and Virgo, so I hope you can join us for that. So we're going to take our first call, which is Colleen in, I better put my real glasses on to see this. I know it's Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania. I know I've pronounced that wrong, Colleen, and I do apologise. How can I help you, sweetie?
That's okay. It's wampum.
Okay.
First off, let me say thank you so much for allowing me for this opportunity. And I want to tell you, it's funny because you were talking about Capricorns and Taurus and Gemini. Well, I'm calling tonight because of concerns with my daughter, who's a Capricorn. Myself, I'm a Taurus, and my husband's a Gemini.
Right. Okay. Well, that makes for an interesting household.
Yeah. So, to say the least, with a son that's a Leo too. But my daughter is. What's that?
I said that'd add a great flair to it all. Your son would want the centre stage.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So my daughter is 10 weeks pregnant.
Right.
And she miscarried this time last year.
Okay.
So I'm calling to find out, I would like to know what you see with this pregnancy, and also her and the baby's father are separated right now, hopefully to reconcile, but I'd like to know possibly if you can tell me what you see for this baby and her future with the dad and maybe if you are able to tell me whether it's a boy or a girl.
Technically, by law, we're not supposed to discuss pregnancies and particularly not sex of baby. What I can tell you is that I do feel that this baby, will go full term. I don't see any miscarriages this time. It's interesting because the energy of your daughter this time is on a much more stable sort of footing. It's like this time it's like she's just taking everything in her stride. And I'm not saying she's been a drama queen in the past. I'm not saying it that way, but I'm just saying before I think the little things used to upset her. And now it's sort of like she shrugs the shoulders and says, oh, well, what's next? You know what I mean? Like she's showing tremendous maturity. Sometimes maturity does come through things like miscarriages and losses and things like that. Nobody can really understand how that changes an individual unless you're the one that's actually experienced that grief, that loss. Now, it's interesting because I don't want to say that they won't reconcile, her and the baby's father, because I do feel that there's a very strong chance they will. But at the same time, it's like your daughter's still doing it on her own. It's like she's the one that's going to be the stronger of the two. She's the one that's going to make the majority of the decisions. She's the one that's going to push everything forward. So it's almost like, yes, they've reconciled and yes, he's there, but it's like he may as well not be there because he's not really carrying his end of the load. And your daughter sort of will do that willingly in her stride, and it's sort of like, well, it's up to him to catch up. I'm not going to wait for him. And I feel that's a very positive way that she's looking at this situation. She's looking at it, okay, we're going to be parents, life is going to be different, and I've got to keep going. You can either come with me or sit where you are. And it's like, it's not that she's emotionless. I don't mean it to sound hard or harsh. It's just her way of coping with what's ahead of her and looking at it in very practical, grown-up terms. And that's what the planet Saturn will help her do that's just moved into Capricorn. It will help her give her this really grown-up feel. Do you know what I mean? Some people will misinterpret that as a being hard or cold or callous. It's got nothing to do with that. It's her looking at, okay, well, we've only got XYZ amount of months before the baby comes. These are the things that have got to be done. These are the things that have got to be bought, paid for, achieved and whatever. And it's like I'm crossing them off the list. And it's like, well, if you didn't come with me to buy the cradle, well, that's bad luck. I've bought it anyway. Do you know what I mean? I haven't got time to wait for you. And that's going to be her motto. So don't be alarmed by that. I think her partner needs this wake-up call to make him sort of grow up a bit. I think he lives a little bit in la-la land, that, he just thinks that everything sort of comes together at the last minute, and it doesn't. Your daughter's a very powerful, strong person. She likes to do things her own way. There'll always be times that people don't understand her, and not just family members, but other people sort of look at her a bit strange. Don't be alarmed by that. She's an incredibly old soul, and I think she's probably wiser than a lot of the other people around her, and that's what sort of gets her into a few tricky situations because people don't understand where her thoughts are coming from. She's so far ahead of them, but she is very much a soft spot for her brother, even though at times she thinks he's amazingly childish. There isn't anything she wouldn't do for him.
Right.
And he can probably get away with more than anybody.
Her brother?
Yes, in her eyes.
Oh, yeah.
So it's interesting because she sort of she allows him to get away with things that she wouldn't allow a partner to get away with, and certainly wouldn't allow you and Dad to get away with. And yet a brother, it's like he can do no wrong. But it's like she wants to make sure that he's there around her, supporting her with the baby coming in, because in a strange sort of way, she always knows she can rely on a brother, even though he likes to have centre stage, but she knows she can rely on him no matter what. And that's a good thing. I think he sort of helps her become a little bit less prim and proper. Do you know what I mean? He makes her laugh occasionally, which is a good thing, because I think she could become too tough sometimes if she didn't have somebody sort of poking fun at her a bit, and a brother can get away with it. But if I was to choose a sex, my money would be on a girl, because I've got very much a female sort of energy there, but I've got a female energy that reminds me very much of your son. somebody that loves to dance and sing and make a fool of themselves and wants to be a centre of attention. I don't know too many boys that run around in tutus. That's why I'm saying a female. I got a little one about 2, beautiful little pink tutu. I can't imagine your grandson doing that.
No.
Well, one more
Okay.
anyway. Okay, lovely to speak with you, Colleen, and Happy New Year, sweetie.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
My pleasure. We're going to go to Lindsey in Hartford in Wisconsin. Are you there, Lindsey?
Yes, I am.
How can I help you? Happy New Year, Lindsey.
Happy New Year to you. I just have a question regarding my daughter's father.
Right, okay. What did you want to know in relation to your daughter's father?
I want to know what he's doing. Like, if he plans on being involved in her life.
Okay, so how old's your daughter?
She's almost 9 months.
Okay. Why did I get an older energy? Does he have an older child?
He does, yes.
Okay. Well, they showed me the older energy first, and I was going to say to you, disregard anything you know about the way he's behaved with the older child or how little or how much input he put in there, because this time he's going to be a different dad. This time he's going to be much more focused. So he may not have shown you that at this point, but I do feel over the next few months, I think we're going to see him starting to sort of accept the fact that he's got another child, and also the fact that he's got to step up to the plate, that he's got to have an input in this child's life. So far I think there's been quite a few disappointments in the way that he hasn't really stepped up to what you believed he would do. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's just me and baby.
Yeah, but I'm not trying to make excuses for him, because I don't believe in making excuses. I'm trying to help you understand where his head was at. And I think it took him by surprise when, you were expecting the baby, and for some reason or another, I think he thought if he put it out of his mind, it was all going to disappear. Well, that's not the way it works. So he never really came to terms with the fact that he was going to be a dad again and what that meant. He's slowly starting to catch up now. So I'm taking from the energy that I've got here that the two of you aren't cohabitating together as man and wife.
That he wanted to marry me.
He did want to marry you, did he? But the two of you aren't living together or anything at the moment?
No. He cheated on me while I was pregnant.
Right, well, that'd make you change your mind. I can understand that. Again, I don't know that was a deliberate thing. I think that was a way of an avoidance, sort of pretending that these things weren't happening. Not that I think that's any excuse. But going forward, I do think that he's going to become more of a hands-on dad. I'm not sure that the two of you are going to reconcile and get married and play happy families, but I certainly do see a much comfortable relationship going forward as your daughter's parents. That's what I see. The two of you being able to come together as parents for the important events that are going to happen in her life. But I actually felt that there was someone else coming back into your life from your past. I've got a very good-looking, tall, dark-headed man that seems to go way back in your past coming back towards you. Can you place who that is?
Like a man younger?
Yeah, it was somebody that I don't know whether you had a relationship with in the past or whether it was just an attraction and the timing wasn't right and you weren't ever able to see where it could go. But it is a familiar person. It's not somebody brand new. And I feel this is coming towards you in the next 12 months. And it just starts out as sort of friendly chit-chat, maybe on social media or something like that, and it moves into something more. I feel very comfortable with that opportunity, with that relationship, and I do feel that's where your personal happiness is going to lie, and that's a good thing, because it wouldn't matter what the baby's father said or did, you would never be able to trust him again, and I can understand that, and I don't think he's emotionally the right connection for you as a partner anyway. He's too scattery. And, he might make a very good dad and he'll be there and he'll do everything right for his daughter. But as far as being reliable and being the right sort of partner for you, forget it. he's just not the right person. You need somebody a lot more stable, somebody that's going places, somebody that's got a map of where they want their life to go and what they hope to achieve, and he doesn't fit that bill. So,
Yeah.
but I know that you're going to find personal happiness. Your daughter's got such a lovely energy about her. I mean, I know you're going to say to me, yes, she has, because you're a mum, but I'm not a mum, so I'm looking at it as a third person looking in. And her energetic soul is very pure, very clear. I'm going to say to you, she's a very, very old soul, and even as a little one, she's going to have such profound wisdom. Even at 2, she's going to make statements that, you know, people think, when the hell did she get that information from? You know, she's 2. But that's because of her past life wisdom coming through. She has the most powerful, incredible eyes. And it's like those eyes seem to sort of absorb everything. And she does absorb everything. But it's interesting. She'll be able to get her father to do things that I don't think any other person on the planet can get him to do.
Yeah, I think she's going to be gifted. She is gifted.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely going to be gifted, but she's got gifts in lots of different ways. But the probably the strongest one that I see coming through around her is this gift of compassion, where she's able to sort of soften people up. Even the hardest, you know, cranky sort of people just sort of melt around her. It's sort of like she waves this beautiful, serene energy wherever she goes, and that's a beautiful gift. Besides being quite intuitive and, you know, quite spot on with her wisdom, it's just sort of like she just seems to be able to know how to smile at somebody.
She's brought a lot of people together already.
Yeah. And that's wonderful. That's a very, very special little girl there you have. And, you know, and it's wonderful. Anyway, Lindsey, I wish you very, very happy New Year, and enjoy your daughter, and everything is going to be okay. We've come to the end of the show again. I know 30 minutes seems to go very, very quickly each week. Next week we will have the Simply Tarot card of the week. We will have a little trip around the universe and see what's happening. We'll also have our soy candle of the week, and we'll have our second part series in Pluto through the signs of Cancer, Leo and Virgo. So I want you to take this opportunity. If you haven't already set your New Year's intentions, it's not too late. I believe we've got up till day 14 to do it. Write out at least 3 things that you would like to achieve this year and set your intention under any candle that you've got, but make sure you read it out aloud. Try and get into the habit of lighting the candle for an hour a day and focusing on what you want to bring in. You may want to put more than that on your list. You know, you might want to put a couple of things that you feel that you can achieve quickly, and some couple of things there that are a work in progress. Anyway, Happy New Year, and I hope you enjoy 2018 as we close the show with my beautiful prosperity glasses. May your purses be jammed, crammed and overflowing with all the money that you need for 2018. See you next week.